oh my god, like Corridor Crew is gonna have a blast with this movie.
I know Kung Fu.
Show me.
I'm the martial arts film freak, and I watched Jiu Jitsu.
The comet you see in the sky right now passes over the Earth every 6 years and causes a portal. But when it's open, we get a visitor from a distant galaxy. A poet warrior in the sci-fi sense. The spaceman. He comes here looking for a fight with you. The chosen Jiu Jitsu. If he doesn't get it, he stays and he kills everything. That is Alien Politics 5 through 15.
Jiu Jitsu is a 2020 film directed by Dmitry Logothetis, and it is about this comet that passes by the Earth every 6 years. And when the comet passes by, this alien warrior named Brax, which my phone autocorrected to Brad, this alien warrior named Brax comes to Earth, and 9 chosen fighters called Jiu Jitsu have to fight the warrior. They don't have to win, or they can just die, but as long as they fight him, the Earth is saved. It's essentially Mortal Kombat meets Predator, and I'm completely down for that. The movie has a stacked cast, which also for some reason includes Nicolas Cage, but it is Elaine Moussi, Juju Chan, Tony Jaa, Maurice Crump, Frank Grillo, Rick Yoon, and then some other people, including this guy from My Name is Earl. He's the worst part of it. He is not in the movie a lot, but he could have been in the movie much less. This movie is a lot of exposition, and that is kind of annoying. The main character we see at the very beginning is running away from the alien warrior, and he jumps off a cliff and lands in the water, hits his head on a rock. Amnesia. He now has amnesia, and him having amnesia is now our filter of information to be exposited towards, because he just has nothing but questions, and everybody has answers. This movie does an annoying thing during between scenes, like Star Wars does, like the swipes, and every movie has different ways of editing between scenes. This movie went with comic book panels, which we haven't probably seen since Hulk in 2003, and it's not better. It's not better at all. It's not really a critique about it. It was definitely a choice they made, and I just didn't like it. It doesn't help that the drawings also aren't that good. The alien warrior is extremely Predator, and and that's not really a fault of the movie. It's just blatantly obvious at points. The alien warrior has a cloaking device just like Predator. He sees in infrared just like Predator, except for when they wear these special clothes. The clothes we see them wearing in the trailer with the dark hoods and all that. They say that whenever they wear these clothes, they're completely invisible to the alien. That is true twice. They shouldn't have said that, because they're wearing these clothes the entire movie, and almost the entire movie the alien sees them, except for once they put the hood on, suddenly they're completely invisible. Invisibility cloak from a hood. The rest of their body doesn't have a hood on. It doesn't make sense. The budget of the movie definitely went towards the cast, probably mostly Nicolas Cage and Frank Grillo, because the CGI is horrible, from the weapons to the blood to explosions. It's the CGI is horrible. They probably also put some money into the suit, because the suit's not bad. Not really a spoiler, bit of a spoiler, but not really a spoiler. The alien does have a weakness. They discover the alien weakness, just as every alien in every invasion movie has a weakness, and it's always something that is very natural on Earth. In Signs, the alien is allergic to water, which doesn't make sense because the planet is 75-90% water. In War of the Worlds, I think it's oxygen. They're allergic to oxygen. Well, the alien here does have a weakness. I will not tell you what it is, but it is something natural to Earth, and you're telling me that this alien has been coming to Earth for thousands upon thousands of years, and no one discovered this weakness. It's a pretty easy weakness. He literally just actually accidentally walks into it. I'm not like trying to be negative on all these story aspects. It's just I don't really have a positive thing about the story. I mean, the positive thing about the story is that the core idea is cool. I enjoy like the Mortal Kombat mixed with Predator. Right? That's great. Execution probably just could have been done better. There is one spoiler aspect to the story I will not go into detail on. I just found it wholly unnecessary. The base plot is enough of motivation we need for the main character. You know, fight this thing, try to survive, and save the world. Motivation. And then towards the end of the movie, they add in one extra little twist with some characters to try to make it mean more. It doesn't need to mean more. He's got to save the world. That's like the ultimate stake. Into the action, and the first thing I need to address is something that's fairly stupid, but a lot of people seem to have a problem with based on the trailer, and that is that the movie is called Jiu Jitsu, but the trailer didn't show any Jiu Jitsu. Well, the movie has Jiu Jitsu, and I mean, it's fine, it's enough, it's not a lot. We see Nicolas Cage, you know, go for like a knee bar, and then actually Higan Machado, from the Machado family, is in this movie, not a lot, but he does some Jiu Jitsu against the alien, and it's actually pretty cool. The first half of this movie has Tony Jaa and Alain Moussi fighting a group of soldiers, and that was potentially cool and then ultimately ruined. The hits in this fight scene carry like no weight, and it's probably because no one's actually getting hit, which is fine. There's ways around that, but this movie like highlights it on accident. And one way it does that is the movie powders a lot. And if you don't know what powdering is actually a cool thing. Powdering is typical in a lot of classic Hong Kong films. It is where whoever's throwing the kick may put like powder on their foot, or whoever's taking a kick may put powder in their hair, so that when the hit completely connects, you get this explosion of powder. And it can be used to emphasize a full contact hit. And when it's used really well, it's really, really cool. But when it doesn't seem like they're actually making contact, the use of powder is pointless. And it's extra pointless when you pay extra attention and you realize that the powder was digital. They used CGI powder. Like, and most of this movie like takes place in like a desert. There's like sand, just throw some sand around. Like, there's no reason to waste your money on CGI powder. Also, at one point, they start using a first-person perspective from Alain Moussi. We are Alain Moussi, and it was difficult to watch. I don't think there's a way to... I would say I don't think there's a way to use it well. There is one example of it being used really well. That is in the South Korean film Villainess. The opening scene is first-person, and it's excellent. It's probably the only good first-person scene. I remember the movie Hardcore Henry for me didn't work because the reason you want to see martial arts movies is you want to see someone move. It's the same reason you wouldn't watch a dance scene in first person, because you want to see the person. But it also does this really frustrating trick where like Alain Moussi stumbles backwards from getting kicked, and then the camera stays, and we now see Alain Moussi fighting as if the perspective fell out of him, and then he falls back into the perspective, and we are now following along with Alain Moussi again. I got a bit of a headache watching that. I mean, it was a cool idea. Again, same thing as the movie. Cool idea, not a great execution. And then the last thing that bugged me about this group of fight scenes was the mega excessive use of slow-mo. Typically, I would be complaining about like choppiness in the editing and constant cuts. This movie actually did not have that problem. The only time it really did that was during a Nicolas Cage fight to hide the fact that it wasn't Nicolas Cage. Obvious stunt double is very obvious. But they use slow motion on every second or third hit in this fight scene. And in a fight scene that has, you know, a lot of people and a lot of people getting hit, every second or third hit is a lot of hits. Slow motion can be great when it's used sparingly. My favorite, maybe, use of slow motion, sure, The Matrix is great. The Matrix is amazing. My favorite use within a fight scene, I think, is Jesse V. Johnson's Triple Threat from 2019. There's not really any, if at all, slow motion through most of that movie. And then towards the end, in the fight scene between Tiger Chen and Michael Bisping, Tiger Chen slams a cinder block through his head, and right at the moment of impact, slow motion. And I think it's a glorious shot. That shot is amazing. That is not most of jiu-jitsu. Most of these fight scenes at this first half of the film, like they like start the slow motion just like right at impact, and then you see the person like get kicked back in slow motion. Again, they're trying to make it seem like there's more impact than there probably actually is, and it does not work. It actually just makes it much more difficult to watch, especially because it's used in such excess. But most of that slow motion is used when they're fighting just regular people. As soon as the fighters are actually fighting the alien, Brad, according to my phone, not really any slow motion. Again, until I think Nick Cage steps in there. But even then, the fact that there's no slow motion, it's good. You get some really good choreography out of guys like Tony Jaa and Maurice Crump, Juju Chan, and Elaine Musi. They're the reason I'm watching this movie. They're freaking phenomenal and everything. But they don't really get that much time to fight them. They each get a scene. It's a cool scene, but that scene only lasts about like a minute. I think the person we see fight the alien the longest is Nick Cage. He gets what felt like a 5-minute fight scene, which sure isn't much, but compared to 1 minute for everybody else, that's forever. Wrapping it up in the end, I think, sadly, I'm going to give Jiu Jitsu, a movie that I actually got pretty hyped about with the trailer. I'm going to give it, let's go about, let's just go 2 Nick Cages out of 5. Nick Cage is not the problem here. Nick Cage is Nick Cage. Some people are going to enjoy him. He is not for me. He is not the reason this movie is getting a 2 out of 5. He's fine. I can look past him. Some people are going to like him a lot. It's a 2.5 just because, like, the reason we're watching this is for this group of fighters. You cast Dimitri Logothetis, who also directed the recent Kickboxer movie. You cast an incredible group of fighters for a reason, and you barely used them, and at times that you did use them towards the beginning, you just muddled it up with editing, with slow motion and CGI powder. And that CG, the powder, it's not great. There's the explosion towards the end that, oh my god, like, Corridor Crew is gonna have a blast with this movie. But we want to see what would happen if these fighters took on the Predator, and they barely did. And what they did was cool, but it could have been summed up in a neat 20-minute YouTube short film. And that's probably what this movie should have been, was a YouTube short film. At least, like I said, cool idea, not great execution. But tell me what you thought in the comment section down below. Have you seen Jiu Jitsu? Are you going to watch Jiu Jitsu? If you are you watching it for the rest of the cast, or are you just watching it for Nick Cage? Because I definitely know people who have no idea who the rest of the people are in this movie, and they're only watching it for Nick Cage. So let me know those things in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Head over to Facebook, where there is the Martial Arts Film Freak Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.